Did you know that 3% of the American population has anxiety? And did you know that of that 3%, about half of that is actually not being treated for their anxiety in any form? I'm not just talking medicine, I'm talking like counseling or just learning how to cope with their anxiety. If you think about it in percentages, it doesn't sound like very many people. However, if you put it into perspective, that's roughly 6.8 million people who are living with anxiety. And I am one of those people. If you're new here, my name's Michelle, and this is Hey Olexa, a channel where we've in the past talked about our money, our finances, and we've always said that we believe that financial literacy is the first step to your dream life. And I still agree with that. But now we really are putting a focus on money and our mental health and how the two are correlated. And today we're going to talk about how I manage my anxiety as a Christian. If you haven't heard, a few months ago, I actually quit my full-time job. I had a career in leadership at a luxury retailer, and it was something I actually really loved. And unfortunately, due to my anxiety, I had to quit. If you're interested in the full story, I'll link it above for you guys. That's actually why we took such a long break. And that's also why Ryan is no longer here. But enough of that. That's a different video, and you can check it out up here. It's also linked in the description box below. Let's jump into 13 different ways that I manage my anxiety as a Christian. The first one kind of seems weird because I didn't know this existed, but I've actually been really enjoying something called Christian yoga. And Christian yoga is exactly what it sounds like. It's yoga, but instead of breathing in and breathing out like all of the cares of the world and then like everything else, you actually meditate on a verse. And I will link a resource of a channel that I've been using that I've really grown to love. Her name is Caroline Williams, and she has an amazing resource for Christian yoga and what it looks like to do that. There's actually a 30-day challenge that you can do, and that's where I started. And I'll be honest, it seemed really simple when I first started because you're really doing like an intro to yoga. And if you've done yoga, like I have in the past, I've been introduced to yoga over years. I've had experience doing Bikram or hot yoga. I've had experience doing other forms of yoga. And so this seemed very elementary. However, I really do recommend starting at day one and working your way through all 30 days because it's just so life-giving and it gives you a different mental practice as well as spiritual practice. Something else I do is I read my Bible, and that seems like a really cliche Bible school answer, but as things have gotten really interesting in the last year or two, I've really had to decide, like, if I believe what I say I believe, then I have to go to the Word of God. When I first left my job, I had so much time on my hands, and I wasn't really in a place to be on camera, be around people. I was just really drained. And one of the things that I did that really helped me was be in the Word. I actually use a journal pretty similar to the one in last week's video. And if you haven't seen that video, it's all about gift ideas for the person in your life who maybe needs a little help with self-care. So back to how I read my Bible. So I use something called the REAP method. I actually just went in and did a Pinterest search on how to read the Bible and how to get the most out of it. And so I chose the REAP method because it seemed really simple. I needed simple, attainable ways to actually do a Bible study without having to like do a Bible study. And if you know, you know. So I've included a freebie for you guys. There's a link below. I use my bullet journal to create space around the REAP method. So what the REAP method stands for is to read, examine, apply, and pray. It's really simple, and I think simple makes it easier for us to actually follow through with it. So in the read, you literally read a passage, you will go back through, you will examine the passage, then you'll go back through the passage, you will see how you can apply that passage to your own personal life, and then you'll pray that not only would this be a mind connection, but a mind and heart connection, how the Lord can impact that and I just like sit and pray and ask the Lord to really help me understand how I can use this and implement this in my life. And if there's any time that I feel like I need to confess some sin, that is where I do it. And I always just feel so much better after I've consistently spend time in the Word. So that, again, is in the description box for you guys, free to download, and it's exactly what I use, and I love it. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Okay, so the next two seem pretty similar, but they are different. So I do prioritize going to church on Sundays, and that can look a little bit different. Sometimes in the season that I was in previously, in the heat of everything, I really just prioritized turning on church so that I could hear the sermon, even if I couldn't concentrate on it. It was around me. I was trying to listen to it. And I did that through YouTube. I go to a church here in Indianapolis. Most churches do have their sermons up on YouTube, so it's kind of a blessing. The next thing that I did was, as I started to heal and I could be around larger groups of people, I decided to start going back to church. And that has just given me so much life, to be in community with people and to see people on the regular basis. Like I said, 3 and 4 go together. So I go to church, which is number 3, and number 4 is that I prioritize going to small group. Our small group is actually quite large, with around 40 people. However, what was really nice about prioritizing small group, even when I was in a season that I couldn't go to church in the physical form, was that people were in my life. They knew what was going on. I was in community, and they prayed over me, and they knew what was happening to my body. So when my face would do all kinds of crazy things, I didn't have to explain myself, and they made me feel loved, and they asked if I was okay, all the things that most people would do. But then it made going to regular church in the physical form a lot simpler whenever I was able to actually do that. So for me, that was really nice. And honestly, I think one of the reasons that we've been able to really enjoy our time in Indy is because of that small group. They were some of the first people we met, and we still like them, and hopefully they still like us. And we're building deeper relationships with them. And I think that in life, the thing that we all long for is just deep connection that no matter what's happened, we can come back to. So number 5 is that I have a schedule. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not great at following a schedule, but having a schedule that tells me what's due when, how I need to get things done, how many things I need to get done, helps me be able to be present with other people and with myself, with my husband, and with our pets. We have 2 dogs, and it just helps me to know how to break up my days with my breaks, with everything else going on. And I do think that taking breaks, making sure I'm eating, and doing those things are super important. So I build those into my schedule. Number 6 is that I spend time praying. I love to sit and write out my prayers. Again, in that journal or that handout where you can be able to just sit, write out your thoughts and your prayers, and just give thanks and glory to God, or wrestle with things. I've been in many seasons where I've had to wrestle through what I'm going through, and the good thing is that the Lord is there regardless. In correlation with that, I also like to journal, and I personally use a bullet journal. It's just a place that I can let all of my feelings out. It can be a non-biased place, and then I actually like to keep those so that I can go back, and over the years I've been able to see how far I've come. Something that used to really bother me doesn't bother me as much, or I've also been able to see how the Lord has just transformed my heart from believing one thing to believing truth, which I just think is so sweet. I had a friend once say that journaling is the fastest way that you can see tangible proof of how you've grown throughout a year. So I highly recommend this one. Number 8, I go outside every day. I have 2 dogs, like I've said, and they require a lot of exercise. One is 7, one is 4, and exercising them every day is really important for them so that they can get all of their wiggles out and not drive us crazy, as Ryan and I both work from home 90% of the time. But another thing that going outside and being in nature does is it resets my brain. I'm able to step away from content creation and being in the house and feeling like everything is all over the place and not put where it's supposed to be, because we live here and we work here 90% of the time. I'm able to actually reset, go out, enjoy the beautiful nature that God's given us. And it's just a nice reminder that there's more to life than these 4 walls, than this camera and this like microphone and this channel, and it's something that I often forget. So go outside, even if it's yucky. Like recently it snowed in Indianapolis and we still went on long walks, and it was so nice to hear like the crunch of the snow. If you know what I'm talking about, leave me some snowflakes in the comments below, but crunches of snow and just be around like the stillness. It was so nice. So another one that I've started doing in the last year is having boundaries around what I watch and consume, whether through media, social media, the news, my entertainment on my TV. I really have to be careful about what I'm watching. Originally, when The Handmaid's Tale came out, I loved it. I thought it was great. And now it's just gotten too dark for me. So I choose not to watch it. It's as easy as that. Ryan loves to watch like scary movies and scary things, and that's just a boundary that he respects, and I just don't watch it. So think about things that maybe give you anxiety that aren't healthy for you and put a boundary around it. You'll be surprised that when you're consuming less of it, how much more your anxiety will dissipate. Number 10 is that I create a balanced diet. So I do this by eating a vegan diet, specifically a whole food plant-based vegan diet, but you can do that in many other ways. That's just how we choose to eat and to be. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I would love to do some content on that. That's budget friendly, but it's definitely not the only way to eat to have a healthy, balanced diet. It's just how we choose to do that. And I will add that I do take a vitamin. Currently, I'm taking Rituals vitamin. You've probably heard other YouTubers talk about them. That's how I heard of them. And honestly, I really like it. I don't often like many vegan vitamins. They have like a weird taste, but this is a great one. So number 11 is that I put away work when it's time to put away work. When the day is over, I go ahead, I pack everything up, and I put it on the shelf behind me. That way, I'm not tempted to go back into it and keep working, because I will. So another thing that I try to do, number 12, would be to clean. And for me, cleaning and organizing kind of go hand in hand. And I try to keep an organized space so that I know exactly where everything is supposed to go after I use it. I can use it and then put it right back. We're still working on this, as it's still a work in progress. Life is a work in progress, right? The next thing is that I have set filming days, and honestly, today is not one of those days, but I didn't like the way the footage looked, so I went ahead, got ready, and am filming this video. But normally I would leave my filming to 2 days a week so that I can have a little bit of respite from having to wear makeup and do my hair and everything every single day. And it just gives me, a little bit of reprieve. So those are my 13 things that I do as a believer to make sure that I'm helping my anxiety. Let me know in the comments below if I've missed anything, or if there's something that you do that actually works for you. I'm very curious if there's anything that I could be implementing into my routine that you guys do. So let me know. And as always, don't forget to budget wisely, compromise kindly, and be authentically you. I'll see you in the next one.